In lots of ways, this world seems made specifically for us. The mix of chemicals in the atmosphere is perfect for us to breathe. There's a huge variety of food to sustain us. Our planet is just the right distance from the sun so that we're not frozen to death or burned alive. And the universe expanded in just the right way for us to exist. Some have called all of this fine-tuning. If the universe was a radio dial, they might say it was tuned specifically for life. But is that true? Is the universe fine-tuned? To explore that, we have to go back to the very beginning. Some people like to call that the Big Bang.
For simple life to form and evolve, we had to have a force of gravity that was not too strong. We had to have more matter and antimatter. We had to have the possibility of forming stars, and we had to have the possibility of complicated chemistry, which wouldn't happen unless atoms have particular properties, etc. So there are a number of other constraints on how the universe is expanding and its contents. And so you can imagine a sort of counterfactual universe where you imagine tuning the knobs differently, with different strengths for the forces or something, which would be less propitious for life.
The strengths of gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, and so many other values all seem tuned to exactly the right numbers for life to exist. If our universe's expansion rate were even slightly different, and we're talking a difference of 120 decimal places here, then it would have either collapsed too early or expanded too quickly for galaxies or stars to form. How do we explain that?
So there are really three explanations for the fine-tuning. One is, of course, providence. The other is coincidence, that there are unique laws of nature, and they happen to allow this. But the third, this is a so-called multiverse idea, which is that there are many, many different cosmoses governed by different laws, and if all possibilities occur, then some cosmos will draw the lucky ticket, as it were, which allows complexity to emerge.
Some argue that if there were a huge number of universes, and each of them was tuned a little differently, then it wouldn't be too surprising that our universe happened to be fine-tuned for life, since so many others were not. But if a multiverse like this actually existed, would that really help explain why our universe is fine-tuned? I met the eminent philosopher Richard Swinburne, and we discussed this.
There might be universes which threw up 12 different kinds of forces. And each of these would be such that no universe at all would produce human beings. So there have to be some very general laws governing the multiverse. And therefore that just takes the issue back one step. The same problem arises. Why is the multiverse such that it is productive of fine-tuned universes? And so the multiverse itself has to be fine-tuned. So I don't think that changes the issue at all.
This is why some have hypothesized that we live in an infinite multiverse, where all possibilities occur, including life. And so nothing we see in our universe should surprise us at all. But many philosophers would object. Aristotle, for instance, held that an actual infinity was paradoxical, and so could never exist in the real world. I met with Oxford's renowned philosopher Keith Ward to discuss this.
I mean, what you're saying is this. The existence of this universe is absolutely improbable. It's so amazing that it's totally improbable. But if we had an infinite number of universes, then that would be okay. That wouldn't be improbable at all. Well, which is more improbable, having one universe or having millions of universes which cover every possibility? That strikes me as vastly more improbable, in fact, infinitely more improbable. So what makes it the case that there are an infinite number of universes? I mean, what is an infinite? Can there be an infinite number of universes? So the whole thing is riddled with philosophical and scientific difficulties as well.
Although for the moment there's no way to scientifically test for them, other universes might exist. As an explanation for fine-tuning, however, a multiverse seems to raise more problems than it solves. But that doesn't mean we won't find a good explanation for why our universe is fine-tuned for life. One thing I've found on this journey is that the best way to pursue knowledge is to be open-minded. And I imagine that to be true in any universe. We're on a quest to find answers. And this is only the beginning.